Amelia Council Meeting, March 21st, 2019. John, roll call, please.
Mr. Fisher?
Here.
Mr. Fight? Here. Ms. Rumkey?
Here.
Mr. Hacker?
Here.
Mr. Walworthy?
Here.
Mr. Sturb is absent.
Okay, so I'll please rise for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Thank you everyone for coming. First order of business is the reading of the minutes. We have minutes from the February 21st, 2019 council meeting. Need a motion to approve the minutes?
Make motion.
Ms. Rumkey made a motion, I need a second.
Second.
Mr. Hacker? Roll call, John?
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Mr. Walworthy?
Yay.
Next is the special council meeting of February 27th, 2019. Everybody all ready? Any motion to approve?
Make motion.
Mr. Fight made a motion. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Rumkey. Roll call, John?
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Mr. Walworthy?
Yay.
Okay, next are the expenses. Y'all are ready? I need a motion to approve.
Make motion.
Mr. Rumkey made a motion, do I have a second? Mr. Hacker made a second, roll call, John?
Mr. Walworthy?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay. Alrighty, next is the fire chief report. Chief Fight.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Good.
So during the month of February, the fire department responded to 49 incidents. 43 of those were EMS, with the day and nighttime runs being fairly equal. 23 of those occurred during daytime and 20 during the evening hours. There were 6 fire incidents. The EMS response time, average time was 5 minutes 26 seconds and 5 minutes 24 seconds for fire response. We transported 34 patients to area hospitals. 1 of those were transported to Bethesda North, 1 to Children's Hospital, 1 to Christ, 9 to Claremont Mercy, and 22 to Mercy Anderson. Any questions?
Typically in February, cold months, that's your, probably peak time you really get a lot of calls for fires. Is that still around?
Yeah, people start stoking their fireplaces and
Yeah, stuff like that. So for Narcan use, that was,
yeah, so the Narcan uses were 2 individuals two different locations. Two individuals unrelated.
The same two individuals? Twice?
One incident, 2 doses each, two
Oh,
different
okay,
occasions.
okay, so two doses.
This report's based on doses.
Okay,
Not
gotcha.
necessarily patients. So 2 patients. Anything else? You mentioned it being February. Of course, it is somewhat of a shorter month, but I think, looking at this year in general, we're probably ahead of the game as far as the overall number.
Yeah.
So far, so. Anything else?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. Next, Police Chief report. Chief Wood.
Thanks, Mayor and Council. Police officers responded to 358 calls for service for the month of February. It was 148 calls less than last year at this time. Under meetings, I attended the Chiefs Association meeting on the 7th of February, council meeting on the 21st, Member County Senior Services meeting on the 25th, and fire drill at Amelia Elementary on the 26th. We had 358 calls for service, like I said. We had 35 reports taken, 47 traffic citations, 31 written warnings, and 22 bench warrants were served. Under Mayor's Court, we had 93 individuals on the docket. 45 appeared here to have their cases heard. 40 individuals failed to appear. The magistrate issued bench warrants for their arrest to be issued. 8 individuals failed to appear. These adjudicated cases were turned over to the Ohio Attorney General's office for collection. And just a note, the Ohio Attorney General's office collected $1,893.45 on adjudicated cases from Amelia Mayor's Court for just the month of February. Under other items, Amelia Police Department Field Training Program consists of 13 to 16 weeks of on-the-job training. Officer Samples was an employee with the Amelia Police Department back in 2017. He resigned to accept a position with the Hamilton County Sheriff's Office, working in the Corrections Division. Officer Samples did not like the indoor atmosphere of working in the jail and reapplied with the Amelia Police Department. Officer Samples came back to the department with the knowledge of field training already in hand and how the department operated. Sergeant Olson is working to get Officer Samples to bring shift work sometime the first week of April. After testing and multiple interviews, the police department applicant, Cindy Dofman, I believe is how it's pronounced, was given a conditional offer of employment. She is currently in Columbus, Ohio, completing the psychological portion of the application process. We are completing the background on her. Hope to have her physical completed by next couple weeks. And Sergeant Olson will have her for 4 to 6 weeks approximately for 250 hours of on-the-job field training. I spoke with the finance officers and confirmed that funds have been appropriated for a new vehicle. I was advised that each calendar year, the police department has funds in this appropriation. We have not touched this fund since 2017. I'm requesting an ordinance to be drawn up by council to move forward with acquiring a replacement vehicle for the police department under the state of Ohio government bid pricing. Just want to make a notation, we have a 2008 Ford Crown Victoria, 2009 Crown Victoria that has close to and in excess of 130,000 miles. This new vehicle will replace at least one of them at this time. And the mayor's court report should be with that.
So at this point, we need a motion to draw up an ordinance for a new vehicle to be presented at our next meeting.
Correct. I'll make the motion.
Mr. Pike made a motion, and I have a second.
A second.
Ms. Rumpke, second. Roll call, John?
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Ms. Rumpke?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker? Mr. Walworthy?
All right, Mayor's Court report. Current period has brought in $9,828.45. The total for 2019 is $15,678.45. And that compares to last year to date at this point, we were at $23,464. All right, zoning report. 212, there was a permit for a deck on Southbridge Drive. 213, a permit for a fence on Maple Street. 213, permit for an above-ground pool on Deer Creek Drive. 222, single-family plot plan. Looks like there was 6 of those on Shady Creek Lane. 5 on Shady Creek Lane, I'm sorry, 1 on Wooded Ridge Drive. 3-1 was a deck on Wooded Ridge Drive, and on 313, a sign at 87 East Main Street. Committee reports, Mr. Fight, Finance.
Finance Committee meeting, March 5th, 2019, attendance myself, Doug Fisher, Andrew Stern, Mayor Hart, Chief Wood, Joe Giplin, Bill Giplin. Guest in attendance was Matthew Spencer. Meeting called to order at 7:03 p.m. Mr. Fisher made a motion to approve the January minutes. I seconded. Mr. Stern abstained. All present voted yea. Committee reviewed the 2019 permanent appropriations that need to be approved at the March meeting, which we've already done. I made a motion to recommend to council the 2019 permanent appropriations. Mr. Fisher second. All present voted yea. Mayor Hart stated that the company has been found that's able to install the wheelchair lift at the Village Hall. Mr. Fisher motioned the village install the ADA compliant restroom in the Village Hall. I stated that the village wants to hire an administrator. He asked what the average salary, myself asked what the salary was for that position. Goodwin stated that the Ohio Municipal League shows that the average salary at $102,000. Next finance meeting is April 2nd, 2019 at 7 p.m. Mr. Fisher made a motion to adjourn the meeting at 7:35. I second the motion. All present voted yea. Excuse the whistle. I have a dental form. I got what they call a little flipper for my teeth.
Did you say 102,000? Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
All right. Next is legislation. So, first is ordinance 021913, an ordinance by the Council of Amelia Village, Ohio, adopting the permanent annual appropriations of village funds for the fiscal year ending December 31st, 2019 for Amelia Village. Motion to approve by Mr. Fite. May I have a second? Second. I'm sorry. Okay. Motion to suspend the rules requiring 2 readings on 2 separate occasions. Motion by Mr. Hacker. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Fite, second. John, roll call.
Ms. Rumpke?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Mr. Walworthy?
Yay.
And I need a motion for the adoption of the ordinance.
I would motion.
I would read that, with the wording.
That's not how mine's written. Okay, move to adopt the emergency clause and the ordinance for passage by emergency. Need a motion.
Make a motion.
Ms. Rumpke made a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Walworthy, second. John, roll call.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Ms. Drumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Wallerton?
Yay.
Alright, next is a resolution R-2019-04, a resolution authorizing approval of revised draft solid waste management plan dated 2018 through 2037 for the Adams Claremont Solid Waste Management District.
And this will just go into the resolution with the emergency clause without the readings.
Need a motion to adopt the emergency clause of the resolution for passage by emergency.
I make the motion.
Mr. Fite made the motion, do I have a second? Okay. Mr. Hacker? John, roll call.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Ms. Drumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Wallerton? Yay. Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Let me go over this real quick.
You want me to read it first and then you go over it? Okay. Whichever way you want to do it.
This resolution is a companion legislation to the next three ordinances. And what this is for the Premier Health Project. Essentially, what they are doing is obtaining financing through a mechanism established by the state that allows them to receive financing and pay it back as an assessment for certain improvements to their building that have to do with energy saving costs. And so while the village doesn't really retain a lot of any sort of obligation related to that, the PACE financing, for whatever reason, the way the state statute is written, has to be channeled through to the village as a paid assessment, and then the fiscal officer has to handle it a certain way, and then it goes on to the county. So what the resolution does is establish the special assessments and what is called an energy special improvement district. And right now that's essentially going to only have the Premier Health Project in it. But now that this district is set up, or will be set up by this resolution, if any other development were to come into the village and want to pursue this financing, it would then be also in that district. So what you'll see on the resolution is a blank, there'll be a blank for a board member. What the state requires is that the district has as board members in this district board. The mayor of the village is automatically on it, and then one other person is appointed by council. And then everybody else on the board, it's a private board, everybody else on the board are people that are individuals, representatives of owners of property that is in the district, and right now that's only Premier Health. My recommendation, if you have a council member that, I understand Regina did a lot of, you had a lot of work.
I met with them.
Yeah, understanding, met with them, she might be in the best position, but the way that the resolution action will go is that we'll have to have a motion to amend the resolution as it's written, and that will allow the appointment of a member to the board. We'll fill that in and then proceed with the emergency adoption, or if not that, then the traditional adoption of that. And then the next three ordinances then all have to do specifically with the Premier Project, PACE financing, the necessary legislation for that itself at that property.
Okay. Any questions? Resolution R-2019-05, a resolution approving a petition for special assessments for special energy improvement projects and a plan for public improvements, declaring the necessity of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements described in the plan for public improvements in cooperation with the Amelia Energy Special Improvement District and declaring an emergency.
So first nominate a member.
I would like to nominate Regina
Second.
We do, not on that, it would be
On the amendment.
a motion to amend, yeah.
Okay, motion to amend resolution R 2019-05, section 3, to add Regina Rumpke as the appointing member of the Board of Directors of the Amelia Energy Special Improvement District. I need a motion to amend the resolution as stated.
Make the motion.
Mr. Fights. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hacker, second. John, roll call, please.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker? Ms. Rumkey?
Abstain.
Mr. Wallerman?
Yay.
Yes.
Need a motion to adopt the emergency clause and the resolution for passage by emergency. Make a motion. Mr. Hacker made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Ms. Rumpke, second. Roll call, John.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker? Ms. Rumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Wallerman?
Yay.
And I need a motion for the adoption of the resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Fight made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hacker made a second. Roll call, John.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Mr. Wallerman?
Yay.
Okay, now the ordinances. Ordinance 0-2019-14, an ordinance determining to proceed with the acquisition, construction, and improvement of certain public improvements in Amelia Village, Ohio, in cooperation with the Amelia Energy Special Improvement District, and declaring an emergency. Need a motion to suspend the rules requiring two readings on two separate occasions.
Make the motion.
Ms. Rumpke made a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Fight, second. Roll call, John.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Mr. Wallerman?
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey?
Yay.
Okay, and I need a motion to adopt the emergency clause and the ordinance for passage by emergency.
Make the motion.
Mr. Fight made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hacker. Roll call, John.
Mr. Fight?
Yay.
Mr. Fisher?
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey?
Yay.
Mr. Hacker?
Yay.
Mr. Wallerman?
Yay.
All righty. Ordinance 0-2019-15, an ordinance levying special assessments for the purpose of acquiring, constructing, and improving certain public improvements in Amelia Village, Ohio, in cooperation with the Amelia Energy Special Improvement District, authorizing and approving an energy project cooperative agreement by and among Amelia Village, Ohio, the Amelia Energy Special Improvement District, Claremont Health Realty LLC, and Greenworks Lending LLC, providing for the financing of those public improvements, authorizing and approving a special assessment agreement by and between Amelia Village, Ohio, the County Treasurer of Claremont County, Ohio, Claremont Health Realty LLC, and the Amelia Energy Special Improvement District, and Greenworks Lending LLC, regarding those special assessments and declaring an emergency. I need a motion to suspend the rules requiring two readings on two separate dates.
Make a motion.
Mr. Rumpke made a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wallerman, second. John, roll call, please.
Fisher,
Yay.
Mr. Fite,
Yay.
Mr. Hacker,
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey,
Yay.
Mr. Walbergen,
Yay.
And I need a motion to adopt the emergency clause and the ordinance for passage by emergency.
To make motion.
Mr. Fite made a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hacker made a second. John, roll call, please.
Mr. Walbergen,
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey,
Yay.
Mr. Hacker,
Yay.
Mr. Fite,
Yay.
Mr. Fisher.
Yay. Ordinance 0-2019-16, an ordinance declaring improvements to parcels of real property located in Amelia Village, Ohio, to be a public purpose under section 5709.40C of the Ohio Revised Code, exempting such improvements from real property taxation, authorizing the execution of such documents as may be necessary in establishing a tax increment equivalent fund. I need a motion to suspend the rules requiring 2 readings on 2 separate dates.
Make a motion.
Ms. Rumkey made a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Hacker, roll call, John.
Mr. Walbergen,
Yay.
Ms. Rumkey,
Yay.
Mr. Hacker,
Yay.
Mr. Fite,
Yay.
Mr. Fisher.
Yay. And I need a motion to adopt the emergency clause in the ordinance for passage by emergency.
Make a motion.
Mr. Fite made a motion, do I have a second?
A second.
Ms. Rumkey, second. Roll call, John.
Mr. Fisher,
Yay.
Mr. Fite,
Yay.
Mr. Hacker, Ms. Rumkey,
Yay.
Mr. Walbergen,
Yay.
Legislation. Okay, mayor's input. We spent a little bit of time doing a little bit of a little history work here, and I just wanted to bring this to everyone's attention. And we went back through ordinances back through 2008. So in 2008, there were 77 ordinances passed by council. All 77 were done by emergency. 11 resolutions, all 11 done by emergency. 2009, 35 ordinances, 34 by emergency. 3 resolutions, 3 by emergency. 2010, 42 ordinances, 35 by emergency. 7 resolutions, all by emergency. 2011, 61 ordinances, 55 by emergency. 4 resolutions, 3 by emergency. 2012, 59 ordinances, 55 by emergency, 10 resolutions, 9 by emergency. I can go on, but the trend is there, and it's consistent all the way back to 2008.
Can you read
Yeah,
the
keep
rest?
on going.
Oh, I can, yeah,
Yeah.
sure, I can read the rest
Yeah,
of
let's
them.
read it.
If you want the rest of them, that's fine.
Yeah.
2013, 62 ordinances, 57 by emergency. 11 resolutions, all 11 by emergency. 2014, 64 ordinances, 63 emergencies. 13 resolutions and 12 emergencies. 2015, 63 ordinances, 62 by emergency. 4 resolutions, all by emergency. 2016, 55 ordinances, all by emergency, 10 resolutions, all by emergency. 2017, 41 ordinances, 40 by emergency, 10 resolutions, all by emergency. 2018, 41 ordinances, 34 by emergency, 10 resolutions, all by emergency.
Thank you.
Okay? My only point is there's history there, and it goes back to when a couple of you were on this council. You guys understand why the emergencies are there. You passed them yourselves. So I feel like that's a topic that we go round and round about every month, and we don't need to. We need to put it to rest. That's my only point in it, okay? That's all that we had as far as mayor's input. We need council input. Anybody? No? Okay. Couple of questions that I received from John that needed to be answered. I think Roy sent these to him. Wants to know what is hiring, or what is the status of hiring a manager for the village. We have accepted about that many? Okay. We've accepted applications, they're being reviewed. At our next meeting, we will appoint a committee to begin the interview process for a village administrator, and we'll move forward with that and get that done as quickly as we can. And then the second question was the status of the ADA compliance on the Victoria. And again, we've accepted, is it 2 bids, John, that we've had on that?
We just have 2.
We have 2 bids on it. We're reviewing those bids and looking into the logistics of moving forward with that. So they're not dead issues, they're issues that are being worked. You got the list, John, public input?
In the future, if you'll just, I know your address, but in the future, if you'll fill this out for me, put your address on it. That's all I ask. So Sue Rosser?
Just reiterate. Just reiterate. Just on the other side.
All right, thanks for letting me have public input. Just gonna read a few statements here. I'm gonna reread the mayor's state of Amelia. Amelia Village has had another great year, and our residents have continued to show tremendous support for businesses in Amelia Village. The Dollar Tree is still getting numbers beyond their expectations, and the Kroger's marketplace has not slowed down one bit since they opened. Kroger's continues to draw customers, which in turn keeps their business with a steady flow of customers to their stores. Building of new homes in Amelia Village is on the rise. Amelia Park, Woodside Park, Pine Station, soon to be home to new residents. We welcome them as more people are moving into the east side of Cincinnati, and it looks like this trend will continue. After a long wait, the Premier project is scheduled to break ground this spring. Many projects like these take 2 to 3 years to come to fruition. Once Premier opens, it hopes to bring 150 to 200 new jobs in the village. In 2018, a much-needed earnings tax was passed by council. This will enable the village to do road repair, general maintenance projects, which leads to a better quality of life for our residents. Our zoning permits are up at a total of 134 permits issued for various projects. Total income brought for permits for 2018, $68,250. Amelia Village had another good year in 2018. The way the village is growing, city sites in the future. We will continue to grow in all aspects of the future of Amelia Village, its businesses and the residents in 2019. So since taking on that earnings tax money, as I drove out of my house today, down 125, wow, that road in our part of the village is horrific, terrible. Drove that from there all the way down to Anderson, and boy, there's a difference as soon as you get out of the village. I think maybe we need to start using some of this earnings tax money to get digging in on those roads. I'm gonna send an email to the mayor, because the past 2 meetings, he's promised me a road repair sheet that tells me what we're gonna be working on. I've still yet to get that. I live on Hummingbird, and I asked all the council members to drive down there. There is seeming to be a big hole, well, a little dip,
Yeah.
and I noticed somebody put a cone up, so I don't know if the individual house owner did that or if the village did that. But before you know it, it's gonna get pretty deep, just like that one up on Sandpiper.
I agree, yeah. I called Todd and, Nancy gave me just put it related, but do the proper repair, but it's gotta be dry.
Right. But
I
there
know what
is,
you're saying, that's,
yeah,
I want mine on the streets and the parks too.
right.
I think that's the one that Todd and I went out. It's been a couple weeks, that's been there a couple weeks, right?
It's been here a while, it's just kind of,
Me
with
and
the
I-
weather, it's
Todd and I
gotten
went-
worse.
Todd and I went out there and we did put some hole patch in it, and we put the cones up,
Did you?
yeah.
Yeah, I just noticed that like this
So
week, I
it's,
think.
the weather's gonna break, and some of that work can get started.
Just typical winter freeze, thaw,
Right.
rain,
Yeah.
rain, freeze.
But if you guys look at it, that 125, where it only
Yeah,
needs some work. Thank you.
I agree.
Agreed.
Mr. McCoy?
I don't know, I'm gonna beat that all-inspiring, state of Amelia address after waiting a year for it, but I'm gonna try. Because I have a different view of the state of Amelia. New housing developments are out of control. We're looking at 500 plus more homes and condominiums. How much green space will be left? Traffic congestion is already unbearable. Residents are packed in like sardines. Amelia Elementary was built for a little over 700 students. Right now, there are 770. 2 new teachers had to be hired in October of 2018, just to bring the 1st and 5th grade class size down. One of those classes is using the back of the library, and the other one is using the art room. There is redistricting of Fairmont elementary schools, but then again, there are 500 homes coming, putting us in the same situation in the near future. How promising does that sound to a young family looking for their dream home? Todd Hart mentioned Dollar Tree and Kroger thriving. What about the rest of the businesses? Did he only mention the businesses that are new to the village during his administration? How about potential business loss because the Palmer property was changed from business to residential zone? A business district on that desirable property would have been a nice boost to our infrastructure. But as always, the answer is just build more homes and place the tax burden on the residents. Let's talk about the alleged much-needed earnings tax. Ever since the earnings tax was passed, all it's been accomplished is more frivolous spending. Council is concerned about needing an earnings tax in January of 2018 for road improvements. February 5th, 2018, the backdoor tax was passed as emergency. Surprise, right? On the 22nd of the same month, there was another special meeting. Discussions regarding a new maintenance building and new police station were discussed. No mention of road improvements. Now we are hiring our manager. Why in the world would we need this position? We are financially strapped, and according to council person Gigi Brunke, on a shoestring budget. Residents, I encourage you to drive around the village. Look at what Main Street has to offer. Blight everywhere you look. Turn down some of these neighborhoods. Home for rent signs are everywhere. More often than not, these properties are not kept up. People are leaving the village in droves, yet we continue to build more homes. Our streets are in shambles, but we have a nice, beautiful administration building that we don't need and can't afford. Village administration is under the illusion that the future is bright. The reality is the future is bleak, and this administration will go down as the most incompetent in the history of this village.
Kyle Rosser?
Alright, so I just have one question, and I was just wondering, and it pertained to ordinances and everything, and where do we have the open public forum to where we had those ordinances, sent to the, solicitor to have it written up and voted on tonight? Because there was no special meeting that was put out.
Not sure what you're asking. A public
Okay.
hearing?
Yes.
There are
Public
only-
forum to
There are
have-
not public hearings required for any type of legislation passed. That's only a statutory requirement for certain actions.
And then, my other question, Fisher, what was the point of reading the from 2008 to now?
Just simply the fact that there's been such an issue with passing legislation by emergency, and I'm just showing the history. Like I said, I'm just showing you what the history is.
All right, well,
The
then we
history's
should
there.
do the history and that, okay? You guys only have one meeting a month.
Mhm.
Back then, there was 2 meetings. Why is there only one now?
I wasn't involved in it back then, I can't answer.
Well,
what
then
I
it
don't.
doesn't matter now.
I don't know.
Like, why don't we have
Since
two?
since I came into it, it's been one meeting, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
Why don't we have 2?
There's been some conversation, possibility of having two.
Conversation now, but that's not getting it done. Like,
I'm not gonna sit here and make you a promise that says that's gonna happen.
I'm not asking for a promise, I'm asking
There has been
for
some
something to be done.
conversation, there has been some conversation about making.
well, where are we at with that?
It's just conversation right now.
Conversation, okay, that's all it is.
Ms. Gerber?
Good evening, everyone. I would like to start by addressing comments made by the mayor and Ms. Rumpke at the last meeting. I will begin with Mr. Hart, who made an effort to discredit me on the date a bill was paid, when in fact it was a bill from December, which council paid along with another payment at another time. The question I asked to council was, what is internet banking? None of you knew. That was my point, not when the bill was paid. Ms. Rumpke, your council input was anything but input. It was used, you used your position and power and outright attacked 3 of your constituents by lawsuit, by threats, and other ridiculous things, who you say you're great at representing. Mr. Hart reads a statement for every public input. Those rules are as followed and read in part. Personal attacks, libel, slander, defamation, and or threatening is not allowed. You did every one of those. Mr. Grumpy, I don't think you managed to do all those, you did all of those to the 3 people who were in this room and to the 400 plus members that are not a group. We are a PAC, a political action committee, not a small group. Mr. Fisher, you made a comment addressed towards us that your wife can't safely walk down the street. I wouldn't know your wife if she was standing here in front of me, and I can probably speak for a lot of these people who don't know her either. And the fact that you imply that it is our political action committee that is doing this is ridiculous. Because if I sit here, she walks past more of these people's houses than she does any of ours. The other thing, I had other stuff, but since you made the comment from the finance meeting that the average salary of a administrator is $100,000, I would like to direct you to the Claremont Sun's issue in the paper about Mr. Nichols from Batavia Village, where it says, in part, that he was leaving the village of Batavia because so much so that the village of Amelia is looking into acquiring his service, and they were willing to pay him $20,000 to $30,000 more than Batavia Village. He asked, a question was asked to him, when were these, and it was just asked to y'all, when were these meetings taking place? If they haven't, how do you get an offer of $20,000 to $30,000 more?
So this is just numbers that Bill gave us at the finance meeting on the average pay of the city manager.
Somebody offered him something from the village.
As far as offering, I don't know if it's an offer been made. It just said tonight that they required some resumes. So interested in the position. That's it. we're in the process of hiring a city administrator. We're looking into that.
Ms. Ballside?
Sorry for my tardiness tonight. I'm the quiet one. I'm the one that doesn't make waves. The optimistic glass is half full, not half empty kind of person. I wasn't at last month's meeting, so I have a few things I'd like to say about that meeting that I watched. In reference to the statement that there are council members, family, and/or friends are uncomfortable walking down the village streets, I'm sorry that you feel that way. I also feel uncomfortable walking down the village streets due to the lack of what I consider police protection. I haven't felt that we've had adequate coverage for years, although the state says that we meet the requirements. Again, if we had a strong government working to invest in building a police staff to protect me, my family, friends, you, your family and friends, I'd feel better about walking the streets of the village. Councilman Fisher, you made the statement that we should conduct ourselves as adults, and I totally agree. As an adult, I'm a person with morals. Lying is not tolerated in my world. The rift that came between the Wake Up Amelia group, the mayor, the council, were accelerated by the blatant lies that were spoken and written and printed on signs and preached to be the truth. Do I agree with some of my friends' actions? No. But they aren't preaching lies. We don't have to agree in each other's beliefs, but lying to hurt another individual is sinful. Ms. Rumpke, I'm sorry that your younger members of your family felt bullied and were scared because of a bullhorn. You live on a very busy, very well-traveled road. This road is traveled by thousands of people a day. The Wake Up Amelia group exercised their constitutional right, word check there. Constitutional right to have their voices heard on the sidewalk that day, just the same as they did in front of 119 West Main Street. And just as the citizens of the Save Amelia did at the election polls by offering free donuts to poll workers and voters. I'm sure that the residents in Over the Rhine didn't like the rioting occurring in front of their homes in 2001, but that was their constitutional right that they exercised. I suggest that you use this as a teaching tool, explaining to them that the government that their forefathers created and that we fight to keep allow us freedom of speech, and how we can use this experience, good or bad, right or wrong, in their lives to be the best citizen they can be. To council, I'd ask that when there is a position to be filled, that you post it publicly with a date range of when you'll be collecting letters of interest and include an ending date. While I'm sure that Mr. Walrubin was spoken to during the time that you were trying to find Javier's replacement, there might have been others interested in the newly opened seat vacated by Mr. Campbell. The public found out about this vacancy at the regular council meeting on February 21st, where the mayor asked council to find someone to fill the open seat. The special meeting was posted on February the 26th, with the swearing of the new council person as part of the agenda. 5 days really isn't a fair amount of time for someone to submit a letter of interest and be considered. After all, it took several months, not a couple, for you to find the replacement for Javier. Okay. Thank you. Oh, I'm quite done. I'll save it for next month. That's it.
That's all I have.
That's it?
You have mine on there.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rosser.
All right. Is that Ross at 34? Okay. That's council member. I just have one question. We'll call it 6 weeks ago, we had a recall for a couple folks on council. I feel that it needs to be replaced. It didn't believe it. So anyway, here's the rebuttal, drawn up by, I believe, yourself, and sent to Board of Elections. I'm just asking, how much time did it take to draw something like this up?
The time that it took was to review the charter
Right.
and the case law,
Sure.
and to understand, because there was a little bit of a conflict in the way it's drafted.
Okay.
And I can't tell you off the top of my head how long it took.
Okay.
But yes, the way that it was drafted, I had to work through that when I read the petition. against the way the charter reads, the way the state law says that you interpret conflict amidst the charter and statute. And yes, it does take time, but I'm sorry, I cannot tell you.
Yeah, I'm just curious. I'm trying to draw a conclusion on how much we spend of village dollars to draw this up, and for you, no disrespect, to go up to the public, go up to the meeting with the Board of Elections. Between this, that, I mean, you know, I don't know what your hourly rate is for the firm. Is that $300-400?
It's $175.
Is it? Well, that's.
I think so.
Okay.
It might be 185. It's something in that range. I
Okay.
can't remember.
Okay, so if we.
It's on the ordinance.
If we arrived at that, I'm just trying to find a dollar amount this costed that we, as the taxpayers, had to pay to turn around. And after the taxpayers signed petitions, and we signed petitions, this was the speaking of the village people
I understand.
and the residents.
The
And
state,
then we turn around and spend our dollars to debate this.
Well, I
And that's really
understand.
frustrating.
my first meeting here, I
Oh.
said, one of your McCoy, Mr. McCoy, asked what my duty is.
Sure.
And my duty is to defend the charter as written.
Okay.
And believe me, I had a flu the day you guys filed that. I would have loved to just say this is cut and dry, this is the way it goes. But I have to read the charter. And I'm probably worse than anybody about having to not let go of any single word in that charter.
Sure.
And to enforce that. And that's the way it's written. And it was my duty, if someone came in and pointed out that the replacement provision is not in there, I'm in a lot of hot water if somebody says that, and I have to say, you know, I saw that too, and I didn't do anything. So that's the position I was in, I did that.
I just find it a shame that we spent, and I hope we, in the future, that if I could do a public records request, I want to know how much it's costed. The village public would like to know, not just me. I've been asked, and I'd like to know how much it's costed to turn around and for the ones that were going to be recalled and challenged, they had their chance to challenge, you know, to say why they shouldn't be, but we never got to that. So the people of Amelia, the village of Amelia, never got to speak. In other words, their voice got silenced again.
The charter's
Why you guys?
written that way, and the
I know,
petition had to be
but it
worded.
got
that way.
silenced.
Okay, John.
Yeah.
At this time, close the public input, and I need a motion to adjourn. Mr. Hanker made a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Pike seconds, roll call, John?
Mr. Hacker. Ms. Rumpke.
Yay.
Mr. Walden. Yay. Mr. Pike.
Yay. Next meeting will be April 18th at 7 PM here at 45.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I hope